Hey guys, welcome. So just a quick video today. I've had this Dado stack for a while that I've not actually used. I had bought this zero insert here for it as well, and I've not actually put it together. So I figured I'd shoot a quick video just to show that process. First of all, you're gonna look up your type of saw, in which I did here. I looked up my specific model, as well as making sure it was set for a Dado blade. And that's what I have here. It's the DW3 for mine. For that zero clearance insert, I don't even have a zero clearance for my regular saw blade. It's priorities. I do have a project that I'm planning to use the Dado on, in which I do need to go ahead and install this now. But this is just the Bauer Dado from Harbor Freight. So nothing fancy. You could probably get this on deal every once in a while if you're paying attention to those coupons. But otherwise, we're gonna go ahead and get this in place, get the saw blade on there, and then go ahead and cut it through. Just showing a quick installation of that. Should be pretty simple. So you're just gonna remove this plate. This should be the same with your table saw. Something similar as far as taking that apart. And you can't use the one that came with it with the Dado, because when you bring it up, clearly this is gonna come through much wider than what that allows for. So in order to remove the blade that's on your table saw as it is, you're gonna need these two wrenches that came with the saw. If you don't have them, you're gonna have to find them or get them. It could be different with your table saw, but with mine, you're gonna use the open end. It's gonna go on this side here, and then the closed end will go over this bolt or over this nut here, and then quick remove like that. And you'll take this bolt off, as well as this little flange that's on the outside of the blade there. And then your saw comes off just like that. Pretty simple. With the Dado, you're also not going to be using the riving knife. The Dado blade is going to be much wider. It really serves no purpose at that point. But on the Dewalt, you should have a little lever that's right under this side. You pull it out, and that riving knife comes right off like that. Now, with the zero clearance, I am going to go ahead and set it to the full size possible. So if you're doing a smaller cut, it will not be zero clearance at that point. But that way, I'm done, and I can use it for whichever project comes up. So if you guys have any experience with some of these Dado blades, leave your thoughts in the comments, as this is going to be the first one I've ever worked with. Never even attempted to put this thing together. I've never worked with any of them, only seen other YouTube videos out there. So there's lots of brands and lots of prices. So these things can get pretty pricey. There should be a diagram in here as far as how to put it together. All right, just to call out, I do have the saw completely unplugged, so I'm not gonna have any issues with that. Make sure you're being safe and your saw is unplugged before you're taking any of this stuff apart. Make sure you read your manual and you're taking into account everything that they suggest. The one issue that I do have here, if I go to full depth, you're supposed to have at least a ½ inch of bolt left here on the saw itself. With my job site saw, that's not going to be possible. If you're using a job site saw, that's not going to be possible. These things aren't necessarily meant for a job site saw, but that's what I've got. If you've got a normal table saw, you'll probably have enough space for that, as that's what they're actually designed for. So a little bit of give there. But as you're putting this together, for mine, for this Bauer, it calls out that this side out, of course, and the teeth are going to have to be pointing towards you. So there's only one way this stuff can be installed. So this side out, teeth pointing toward me, you're going to put your outside plate on first, and then for the desired thickness, there's a chart in your manual to line that up. But you are first going to put in, for mine, it's these 0.024 inch spacers. You're going to put one of those in between the chipping blade here, and when you put this piece in, again, blade pointing towards you, you got to put a little bit of staggered between the teeth here. You're supposed to set it up just barely ahead of the next one, and then you can use your next chipping blade for the size, the dimension that I'm putting on here. I'm putting 4 of the 1/8 and 1 of the 1/16, and that is supposed to get me to 13/16, which looks like that's the biggest this can be set to. It also says that you are supposed to put the blades 90 degrees of each other, like so. So I'm following that. I've got 2 1/8 in on here, and then 1/16, and then you'll put that one at 90 to the previous, this 1/8 at 90 to that one, and then my final 1/8 at 90 to that one. Again, with all those teeth facing you, and then your next 0.024 inch spacer will go in between that chipping blade and this outside. Again, can only go one way, teeth facing towards you and the label facing out. It's got a little thing saying this side facing out. You put that on there, make sure everything is lined up correctly. We'll get this tightened up and then we'll double check it before we do anything. All right, now we're gonna put everything back together, put the bolt back on. Again, make sure everything stayed where it's supposed to. And as I had mentioned, I did lift my blade all the way to the top, so it was a little easier to get to. As I mentioned it, I'm pushing it a little with the bolt size here. I watched another YouTube video with a guy doing a similar thing, not saying it's right, but it did work for him. The way the blade spins is actually meant to tighten that bolt as well. Not to manufacturer's specification, of course, but this is the saw that I have, and this is the size that I need for the jobs I'm going to be doing. I need to be able to get to that full diameter. So we'll see how that sets up on there and go from there. So I'm going to tighten that down, re-inspect it. I got that tightened down as much as can be. I'm going to lower this thing down. All right, so I put the throat piece in here. This is recessed a little bit. These are actually leveling screws. They're going to tighten down until it is level with the top of the table saw here. All right, so that's that. It does not have anything that actually attaches it. These are strictly for leveling here. It has these little notches on the back here, which grab on the back, and then that force is trying to lift it from the back. So theoretically, that's what's supposed to hold it. We'll find out. We'll get all the safety gear on and go from there. Get everything out of the way just in case. All right, so first step, I'm gonna go ahead and plug the saw in. All right, and then we're gonna go ahead and turn it on and see how that spins up. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at it just to make sure everything still looks good. Everything looks good. So now we are slowly going to raise that up. I'm gonna go ahead and use a piece of wood right here on the end just to make sure that I don't have any issues and I'm not trying to stick my hand up there, of course. I think we're gonna be fine, but just in case, gives me a little bit of peace of mind. So here we go. It did come out well enough. This piece of board that's used for this zero clearance here is basically some plastic with like a laminate finish. So if you can see right here, part of that chipped off. Not ideal, so I don't think it'll cause any drag or anything like that. But everything else seemed to have trimmed out just fine, followed exactly the path that it had pre-laid out there. So all in all, I think it's doing what it is supposed to. And now all that's left to do is do a test cut. All right, guys, so I'm just using the miter gauge that I've got on the saw to make this crosscut. One of the things I'm in the process of making is my first crosscut sled as well, so watch for a video coming for that. All in all, pretty happy with the cut that it made here, and that did give me, yeah, exactly 13/16 inch, and according to this paperwork, that's as wide as you can get. There are some other spacers, though I don't think, because you don't have the chipper blades to knock that material out, maybe you can't get past that. So you could certainly, using a crosscut sled or whatever else you're doing, you can move the project. So if I wanted this wider, I could mark it up and I could completely just slide this over little by little to get that to the size I want. But that is exactly 13/16. And so you can go any step down from that 16th inch or 8-inch drops from there. So otherwise, pretty happy. Again, Harbor Freight, I think when I picked it up, it was 60 bucks. Again, you can find it on coupon, so not a bad deal. There are a lot of them out there that can be much more expensive than that. Some pretty big names for that as well. But I think for as much as I'm going to be using it, this is probably going to be very good for me. If you guys have any suggestions, leave them in the comments. Definitely understand there were some safety concerns kind of ignored. As I mentioned, the bolt on this saw is right on the tip. It says do not do that. I do not suggest you do what I'm doing here. I'm making a call with the equipment I have, the table saw I have at this time. I want to be able to use it up to this diameter. So that's the call I'm making, being as safe as I can within regard to that, but don't do it. Basically, everything here says not to do that. You need to have at least a 1/2 inch bolt on the outside of that nut is what it says. So you should follow that. Guys, if you like what I'm doing here, if you like my channel, please like and subscribe. I've got a lot of videos planned, a lot more coming out. I'm attempting to build this channel. As you guys know, if you're a YouTuber yourself, it's not easy. So any of your support, I would appreciate. All the likes, all the comments, all the subscriptions, all the follows, of course, would go a long way into helping me maybe get the right tools, maybe get the right table saw to be able to do the right stuff. But ultimately, I am a firm believer in using what you have until you have the money to get the next tool or the better tool. You can certainly get things done with the tools you've got. So just get creative, find a way to make that sawdust. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you.